Hey, what's going on, everybody? So yeah, I decided to change the name of the channel too. And why not? So anyway, let's get into what the subject at hand is. Node.js. Should you learn Node.js? And I would say if you are somebody who is a beginner looking to, get into the finer elements of web development and eventually back end type of stuff and programming, I'd say Node.js is an excellent place to start, especially if you already have a foundation in JavaScript and HTML, CSS. It's a perfect way to just transition into backend, because before, like I said in my previous video, you had to know Python or PHP, or you had to know a language that would handle the backend, right? Ruby, Java, there's a lot of different things um, that you had to use prior to handle the backend. And now you could use Node to do that. So now, like I had said before, you just need to know JavaScript. And you could be a full stack web developer. And that's an important reason to learn Node. So if you already know JavaScript, you already have a leg up in trying to learn how to do back end development, as well as making APIs and making software as a service, and also IoT. Funny enough, as much as people want to say that they want to keep it, or it's better off. I won't say they want to keep it, but it's better off to have it native. Let's say you want to make an Android app, Android IoT device. It would make sense to make it in Java. At least previously. And a lot of people, when we're talking about business standards, are still, for the most part, going with that. So for the moment being right now, yeah, if you're going to do it professionally, natively is how they're doing it mostly. But as we've seen the community of Node grow, and as Node continues to get more and more acceptance, and as people are seeing how easy it is to just use Node as a one and done type of thing for doing full stack web apps with just JavaScript, and also how simple it is, especially if you are an entrepreneur, somebody who's just working with a small team or by yourself, how easy it is to make scalable applications and software as a service um, in really no time at all, and with very little lines of code and with a lot of libraries and dependencies. Now I know when it comes to microcontrollers, I've had this problem myself. I'd say Node is maybe not the best for that, although through further research I'm finding out that there are ways to get around that, and Node is now tapping in to the lower level or the lower layer of the systems. And what I mean by that is more of like hardware and memory allocation and that type of stuff. Okay. Um, Even though for the most part, you think of JavaScript as just something that is for web development, let alone just high level type of stuff. So, when it comes to microcontrollers and that type of stuff, I'm still a little iffy on Node. I got to do more research. But I'm sure somebody might be able to tell me if they've been able to have optimal success with microcontrollers using Node.js. But like I was saying before, you know, making very small blocks of code to just go run some stuff, and you're an entrepreneur or you got a small team, you're a startup, Node is perfect for IoT and for software as a service. As I've seen the community grow and more people, like I said before, get involved and make this mainstream, you're also going to see a lot of jobs for it, right? You're going to see a lot of people asking for REST APIs or just really software as a service, or just little apps, little backends, little I'll put it like CRUD type of things, like to-do lists and that type of stuff. data entry, data manipulation, that type of stuff. You're gonna see more people adopting Node, just because number one, like I said before, um, you're just using one language, JavaScript, and number two, it's very small lines of code to write, and it's what a lot of people are being taught now, and it's a great place, like I said before, to begin a lot of stuff, right? Me currently, I'm still pretty much, I'm good with JavaScript and Node. I haven't really seen a reason yet outside of microcontrollers and a little bit of stuff with the hardware to stop using it. I like Python. Python's cool, but I just haven't had the need to use it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I haven't had the need to use it. Um, then again, I don't know what Node could do as far as like data science stuff. I have no clue what it could do with that type of stuff. As far as data structures and that type of stuff, I mean JavaScript with the JSON formatting just makes it so easy. It just makes it so that if you know JavaScript, it makes all this stuff seamlessly, and you're gonna see. I've seen people who are using PHP and Python, returning data in JSON format. So knowing Node and knowing JavaScript is going to pay dividends, like very, very well. Node, I gotta say, is one of the most versatile languages out there, and it's incredible that it's not even really considered a language. It's considered an environment. It's considered a runtime environment. But whatever it is, right? Whatever uh, it is under the hood, to me, it's irrelevant. It's great to use for um, what you need to use it for, and it's also the right, in my opinion, the right step to go in as far as being a beginner learning programming, because web development is the perfect spot to start through that journey, and JavaScript, as far as web development goes, that's all you really need to know. All right, because of Node. Yeah, you only need to know JavaScript, and that will make things easy for you for pretty much this main reason, right? When you have to go and learn a bunch of different languages, it kind of distracts you from learning the concepts of what you need to learn for the problem solving. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about. This is about you learning how to problem solve, right? It's kind of like, okay, you know, when you go to elementary school, you gotta learn how to read and write. You gotta learn how to write your letters and read sentences and how to sound out words and do all that stuff, right? But then when you get to high school and college and graduate school and beyond, right? If if that's the path that you go, but definitely for high school and college, from what I had seen, they ask you critical thinking type of stuff. They ask you what's your opinion on this and that. They're gonna ask you to read something and then give your opinion related to it, right? It's not about like, hey, can you sound out this sentence and read this out loud anymore? No, it goes beyond that, right? So I'd say learning the languages, right, and learning how to code is you learning how to write your letters out and sound out your words and remembering that a period goes at the end of a sentence and that stuff, right? But that's not you knowing how to write an essay, right? And programming and this industry is about writing essays. Um, Everybody knows how to code in this type of atmosphere, right? That's a skill that everybody in the industry will have, but what will separate you from the rest of the candidates, right? Especially the people who have no practical experience and just come out of school. will be you knowing how to problem solve, how to write down on a piece of paper how you're gonna solve the problem and what tools you're gonna use, right? And that's what you spend most of the time doing. You really don't spend much time coding, right? If you're doing it right. If you're doing it right, you spend the least amount of time on coding. You spend the most amount of time mapping out what you need to map out to figure out what next steps you got to take, how you're going to tackle the problem down, right? Pseudocoding, right? Pseudocoding is more important than coding. And I didn't realize that as a beginner, and that's something that I'm going to tell people right now. Learn pseudocoding and mapping out your apps and all that stuff before you do it. That is more important than knowing how to code. I'm not even joking. It is more important to know how to pseudocode than to actually code. You know? Because just knowing how to actually code, you're going to sit there and be like, well, now what? Because, that's the place that I had been for a while. I know how to code, but it's like, well, what do I do with it? I didn't know how to do anything with it. Somebody had to tell me what to do. Like, well, what do you want me to do? Oh, well, we need this app to do this and that. And then you're just like, well, I've never done that before, so I don't know how to do that. And, it's really just as simple as sitting down as like, okay, well, what is it abstractly, right? You think of your job, right? When you get to, I'm going to close it out saying this, right? When you get to the professional level of coding or programming or however you have it, right? Your task is to solve a problem. They're going to come in and they're going to give you a problem. And you got to figure out what this app is abstractly, right? Not the code that's going into it, right? But you got to figure out what is this app in a nutshell? Like, what is it doing? What am I getting from it? And how am I going to execute that? And that's what you do is pseudocode. That is what you spend most of your time doing. That way, when you go to code it, right, you know what you're doing. It's like, okay, I need a database to get data from over here, send it over to the client over here, and then render it on this screen over here, right? Now that's, just something I could say is like a function or a software as a service, right? Now, coding that is very easy. I just need to find out the libraries that make the database. I just need to find the call that fetches the data. And then I just need to find out what the call is or the functions to display the data. Then bam, boom, that's it. Now I spent like 2 minutes coding. I might have spent a week figuring that out, but I spent 2 minutes coding. Because you don't want to sit there and figure stuff out while you're coding. Your software is gonna be full of bugs, and you're gonna waste so much time, and you're gonna have so much stress. There's no reason to make this job hard on yourself, right? When you get good at it, I won't say it becomes per se easy, but there's no reason that you got to make this job hard. I'll put it that way. This job doesn't have to be hard. Coding, programming doesn't have to be hard. Not saying it's easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. It can be enjoyable. It can be a challenge. It can be an enjoyable challenge that you go through, of solving problems and building confidence. So it's a fun journey if you let it. There's no reason to make it hard. So if I made anybody's life easier, hey, it's cool. But I'll catch y'all next time.